a.m. Eastern on ESPN+.
I'm Israel Gutierrez, host of the podcast ESPN Daily. Every weekday morning, I'll bring you the best sports story you'll hear all day. Today on ESPN Daily, Jake Trotter brings you the story of Joe Thomas, an NFL Hall of Famer who played his entire career for one of the worst franchises in pro sports. So follow us and listen wherever you get good podcasts.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. The past 24 hours have seen a number of adjectives being used to describe what we saw from the U.S. women's national team. Uninspired, disjointed, things of that nature. They did advance to the knockout stage at the World Cup, but certainly not how folks expected. As for the mood, ESPN's Alexis Nunes.
Understandably, they are just not feeling as confident as we'd like them to feel. There's definitely feelings of frustration that I saw from the players yesterday when they came out to do the interviews following that 0-0 draw with Portugal, because it just capped off what has been a very underwhelming group stage for the U.S. women's national team. And it's put them in a position where we're not used to seeing them in. The fact that they've advanced second from the group, a group that many expected them to take by the horns and just pretty much dominate as well, with their biggest challenge being the Netherlands. They've only fed into the worries that so many people had getting into this World Cup, and that was, is this team good enough to deliver that three-peat? But overall, the players are feeling frustrated.
And they could have been sent home had they lost to Portugal. The Portuguese, of course, had a ball go off the post in extra time. The U.S., though, survives, earns the draw, and they do advance. So how do we view it?
You can look at it in two different ways. One, like Kelly O'Hara, she told me straight up, look, we came in here and we knew we had to get a job done, which was to advance to the next round, and we did it. So I look at it as job done. And then if you're ready to hit those panic stations, you probably just want to listen to what Alex Morgan said. And she said, I have been here in so many times in my career. Back in 2011, they finished second out the group, and they still made it all the way to the final. And in her opinion, and who are we to doubt Alex Morgan, she said this roster is good enough to make it to the final. But even though we wanted to see them choose the path of least resistance, as we talked about yesterday.
On Fox, Carly Lloyd, quite critical of the U.S. women's national team. The team, though, calling the criticism insane. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Marcel Louis-Jacques.
You can go one of two. You can do one of two things, right? When somebody who you looked up to playing the game, a legend in the sport, something like a role model, calls you out. You can sit around and pout, or you can get mad, you can get motivated, and you can go be productive. I think that's the latter. That's what we're going to see. This is still a championship team. This is still one of the best teams in the world, even if they're not necessarily playing like it through the group stages. I would expect to see a new U.S. women's national team next time they take the pitch.
They do advance to the knockout stage. They will be in the round of 16. Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. How about Tuesday's top sounds? Bet I can guess what'll be included here. Let's find out. Jim Baskerville.
Number 3.
Jay, the Padres could have been sellers at the trade deadline. Instead, they added, despite the sub-500 record. Perhaps the reason they did was because they still have Juan Soto, who connected not once, but twice a mile high. 97.3 The Fan.
1-0 the pitch, and Soto hits it in the air to deep center again. Doyle going back at the wall again, looking up, gonna go again. Juan Soto with his second home run of the night, and the Padres lead 6-4 here in the 8th.
Number 2.
The Phillies couldn't figure out Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara all night. The righty threw 8 scoreless and gave the ball to new closer David Robertson. Just what the Phils needed, evidenced by a 3-run ninth capped by this. Sports Radio 94 WIP.
The 0-2 swung on, hit deep, left field. De La Cruz out of room. It's gone. Nick Castellanos crushes it to straightaway left.
and the Phillies have a ninth inning lead. It's 3-1.
Number 1.
And on the day the defending World Series champion Astros reacquire three-time Cy Young winner Justin Verlander, they get an ace-like performance from Framber Valdez, who capped off this gem versus the Guardians on his 93rd pitch. KBME 790 AM.
Here's the 0-2 to Gallagher. Broken bat, soft liner. Pena catches it, and a no-hitter from Valdez. First one to greet him is Maldonado, and the rest of his teammates pile on. Framber Valdez throws the 16th no-hitter in Houston Astros history.
And as Jim mentioned, on the day they get Verlander back. Teams in Texas getting pitching. Rangers and Astros. Teams in California, Angels, Padres, wind up being buyers. But on the other side, who lost the trade deadline? ESPN analyst Eduardo Perez.
Scott Harris and the Detroit Tigers. Look, this could have been his moment. It could have been his moment as a general manager to say, we have to trade Eduardo Rodriguez because he is going to be able to exercise his option. Eduardo wants to stay in Detroit. He wants to stay there, but he wants to see the commitment from the Tigers. And he even had told them on Thursday, look, don't trade me to the West Coast. That's one of the teams that is on the no trade clause. He's a family guy. He wants to be in the East Coast or in Detroit, and that didn't happen. And Scott Harris dropped the ball in a major way right here because I think it sets back again the organization from being able to get prospects, arms, guys that are healthy and could help you in the future. And right now, the Detroit Tigers did not make a move that could have helped their organization move forward quickly in a division that's pretty weak.
We'll see how the moves pan out the rest of the season. How do you lose a game without throwing a pitch? That's next. It's ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Will. Coming up on Wednesday. Every year, Cowboy fans believe this is the year. Well, when are we going to stop believing in Dak Prescott? Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
The top headlines are next on SportsCenter All Night.
When your celebration of life is prepaid in advance, it becomes a gift from you to your family later, because no one should have to plan for a loss while they're experiencing one. Paying in advance protects your loved ones and gives you the peace of mind you deserve. Let us help you plan every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Palm Mortuaries and Cemeteries. Find us at DignityMemorial.com.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axis...
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getearly to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
130 million households will need to pay a new can tax so Cleveland Cliffs can line their pockets. Cleveland Cliffs is demanding tariffs on tin plate steel, which is used for canned goods. How much? Up to a 300% increase that makes everyday essentials more expensive, hitting you and the most vulnerable hardest at a time when consumers can least afford it.
Tell Congress, protect consumers from even higher grocery prices. Say no to the Cleveland Cliffs can tax.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Go to nomoredraftywindows.com for full offer details. Homeowners, do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's definitely time to replace. If you've put off replacing windows in your home because it's too expensive, here's great news. You can save $359 off every window and $887 off every door with Renewal by Andersen, the company with the most 5-star reviews among leading full-service window replacement companies. And right now you can get a free in-home window consultation and free price quotes. It's fast and easy. Just text OFFER to 200-300 to get a link to schedule your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for $0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for a year. That's right. You don't pay a dime for an entire year. Plus, save $359 off every window and $887 off every door. Hurry, these big dollar savings end this month. Text OFFER to 200-300 right now and schedule your free consultation online today. Text the word OFFER to 200-300. Text OFFER to 200-300.
A toast to our new college grad who fills us with so much joy, almost as much as when we're in our RV. Oh, the world is your oyster, kiddo, and ours too. Now that we're covered with Progressive, Dad and I can hop in our RV anytime we want. Might even splurge on a retractable awning. Ooh, look out. Sorry, what was I talking about?
Protect your loved one with an RV policy from Progressive. Take as little as 4 minutes to see what you could save at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Summer is here and Cal Ranch has all the gear to make it one to remember. Hit the waters with kayaks and inflatable tubes. Fill up your tackle box with the essentials. Be the king of the barbecue with new smokers and grills. Relax in camp chairs around the fire. And get a good night's rest with
Now on Sports Center all night, we break down a busy day in Major League Baseball and tell you the biggest winners and losers at the trade deadline.
They are now cemented as one of the most disappointing teams in baseball history, given that they are the most expensive team in baseball history.
Why Nathaniel Hackett believes Sean Payton took it too far.
There's a code, there's a way things are done in that house, and this past week it's frustrating and it sucks, but we're all susceptible to it.
All that and more from an action-packed Tuesday in sports.
The 0-2 swung on, hit deep, left field, De La Cruz out of room, it's gone! Nick Castellanos crushes it to straightaway left.
This is Sports Center all night.
Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, that's going to be a while. I want to play a few more years, and then be 5 after that. So who knows what's going to happen in 8 or 9 years. It's a long way off.
Here's Jay Reynolds.
And then 5 after that, referring to the time it's going to take to get to Canton, Ohio. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM, Channel 80. A lot of focus on the baseball world on Tuesday. But with the trade deadline and all, and yes, we would see Justin Verlander returning to his former stomping grounds. Speaking of Houston, their starter on Tuesday would essentially be saying, hey, don't forget, we already have some decent pitching here.
Here's a pitch, breaking ball off the glove of Framber, going over toward Pena. He's got it, and he got him. Maybe saved himself with a shot up the middle on one hop. It got the glove of Framber, ricocheted over toward the shortstop, Pena, who had time to throw out the Speedy Ramirez for out number 3.
Lefty delivers. And Brennan grounds it right at Altuve. Second baseman picks it up, throws to first in time, and that's 8 no-hit innings for Framber Valdez. He has faced the minimum.
But he did issue a walk. That runner, though, was eliminated on the bases by a double play ball. So there he was, Framber Valdez, 8 innings of no-hit ball. Back out there for the 9th, gets a ground out and a fly out to center, so he's got 2 outs in the 9th.
Here's the 0-2 to Gallagher. Broken bat, soft liner, Pena catches it, and a no-hitter, Framber Valdez. First one to greet him is Maldonado, and the rest of his teammates pile on.
Framber Valdez throws the 16th no-hitter in Houston Astros history.
16th in franchise history. KBME with the call. The Astros win the game 2-0. 16th no-hitter in Astros history. 11th individual to throw a no-hitter for the Astros. The most individuals by a team since the Astros became a franchise in 1962. Framber Valdez, 9th pitcher from the Dominican Republic to throw a no-hitter. Domingo Germán also did it this season. He had a perfect game on June 28th. Framber Valdez, the 9th from the Dominican Republic.
So, esas 5 últimas salidas que tuve que fueron pésimas, solamente pensaba en seguir trabajando, enfocado, y que siempre hay chance para reintegrarse a lo que tú hacías antes, que hacer buen trabajo, subirte en el montículo sin miedo, tirar tu picheo y tener buena secuencia.
Yeah, obviously I had a couple rough starts before this one, and for me, the biggest thing was just continue working hard, continuing my focus, and knowing that I was going to be able to get back to where I was before then.
93 pitches it took him to throw the no-hitter on Tuesday, the fewest in a no-hitter or perfect game since David Cohn in 1999, where he threw 88 pitches. Framber Valdez on Tuesday with 93 as the Astros shut out the Guardians 2-0. Valdez with the no-hitter, the third in baseball this season. You may have missed the game. Time of the game was 2 hours and 6 minutes. Third shortest no-hitter in the last 15 seasons. For the Astros, the 16th no-hitter in team history, individual and combined. The last no-hitter thrown individually by a starter for Houston, 2019, by Justin Verlander. Hope you're taking notes, kids. That's a professional segue.
The Mets have a deal in place to trade Verlander to the Astros.
The Astros clearly know what they're getting in Justin Verlander. He has been their ace before, and he's going to be their ace again for another run.
Yeah, I'm glad we got James back.
Yes, on the day that Houston gets the no-hitter from Valdez, the guy who threw the last individual no-hitter is heading back to town. The Astros giving up a couple of their top prospects in return, but Houston says it's worth it. Team owner Jim Crane says Verlander's been throwing well, and the other factor is the Mets are eating a lot of the contract. ESPN's Jeff Passan reporting the Mets will pay $35 million out of the $58 million remaining on the deal in 2023 and 2024, and $17.5 million of his 2025 option if that comes to fruition. ESPN's Baseball Tonight crew, Carl Ravitch, along with Eduardo Perez, Tim Kirchin, and Buster Olney.
After Max Scherzer was traded and the blueprint was set for how the Mets potentially could move a big money pitcher like this, then maybe he just decided, it's time to go. And he goes back to Houston. We know the Astros wanted him back for 2023, but the price tag was too high. With the Mets buying down so much money, what is it, $54 million of the $93 million owed to Verlander if his option vests for 2025. That, makes him a lot more affordable pitcher from the Astros perspective.
And Verlander's been really good. The last 42 innings, he's allowed 6 earned runs. Plus, he's only thrown 94 innings the whole year. So, in theory, he's going to be a little bit fresher down the stretch. And they're starting pitching. They have the third best starters ERA in the major leagues this year. And then they add this guy. They have J.P. France, who's come from nowhere to be a really good pitcher for them. Jose Urquidy is now coming back. Their rotation looks really good again.
Let's not forget one thing. The Astros, I think, killed it on this one. And one of the biggest reasons they did is because he's had success there in Houston already. He knows exactly what to expect from that city, from that team, from his teammates. He won the Cy Young Award as a Houston Astro.
Yeah.
And this guy and Jim Crane, they get it. They get what winning is all about in Houston.
They get each other, that's for sure.
They get each other, and I think that's one of the most important things. They're reunited. It'll feel pretty darn good. And guess what else? It's a team that is ready now to win again with him at the helm.
And the legacy is an important part of this. The Astros are trying to become the first team since the 98 to 2000 Yankees to win back-to-back titles. We had the Astros a couple weeks ago against the Angels on Sunday Night Baseball, talking with the players on that team. Wow, there's a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to figure that out. And that was before they got Justin Verlander.
Everything has gone wrong for them this year when it comes to injuries. And they stand here a half a game out of first place in the division. And they got Justin Verlander back. They're in a great spot now to make the same World Series push.
Astros got Justin Verlander back, and then Framber Valdez goes out and tosses a no-hitter. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. On the other side of that coin, there's the Mets. They've dealt away some significant pieces. Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Mark Canha, and also outfielder Tommy Pham. He goes from the Mets to the Diamondbacks Tuesday. He's hitting .268, 10 homers, 36 RBI this season. Scherzer, of course, went to Texas after having a conversation with the Mets brass.
It was just an honest conversation between both sides and understanding what both sides were trying to want. The Mets, we went into the season, with high expectations, rightfully so. We had a very good team. Unfortunately, we didn't play up to it. And because of where everybody is at within their contract situation, age, everything, Billy and Steve, they had to do different vision now. The math changed on them. They wanted to be able to flip guys for prospects.
Mets turning that corner. Max Scherzer candid about what the Mets told him they were doing. Mets general manager Billy Epler saying essentially the same thing, although not quite as bluntly.
Given the place that we were in, we were just trying to be, strategic, and we wanted to see what opportunities exist on some of our players, and we had certain price points that we were looking for, and if those were met, we were going to execute it. And one of the goals here is just to kind of expedite the longer term, kind of the longer term goal.
So call it a fire sale, call it rebuilding. We don't have labels. But as for the basic thought process that the Mets are going through, ESPN insider Kylie McDaniel.
If we're trying to put together, I think we understand that Steve Cohen is the decision maker on a lot of these big decisions. But on the smaller one, if we're trying to look at what Billy Epler's vision is, he let Chris Bassett and DeGrom go to get comp picks. He didn't sign any free agents that would cost any comp picks, which gave them extra capital in the draft. They're now buying prospects. Like they talked about when Cohen bought the team, we want to make this like the Dodgers, make it sustainable. Don't just spend money to spend money. Like they're moving toward this. Getting Gilbert and Clifford and paying down the deal is in keeping with the whole vision. They just thought they'd be in the playoffs this year is what they thought would be happening at this point, but that's kind of where they've landed. They're now pivoting to a different version of the same idea of trying to make this a more sustainable thing.
Mets unloading, making significant moves at the trade deadline. They're fourth in the division, a handful of games under 500. And then Tuesday night on the Diamond, well, it didn't get much better. Mets in Kansas City. They were in a 6-6 game in the 10th inning. Bottom of the 10th, Royals have the bases loaded. The Mets turn to their bullpen and bring in Josh Walker.
Francisco Alvarez calls time and goes down to the mound for a mound visit. Now the umpires are conferring.
Oh, they called a balk! They called a balk! The game is over! They called a balk on Josh Walker before he even threw a pitch! The Royals win it 7-6 on a balk of all things! If there was any other way for this wild back-and-forth game to end, why not a balk from the seventh pitcher of the game before he even threw a pitch?
So it sounded on 610 KCSP in Kansas City. Royals with a 7-6 win. Mets losing on a balk for the first time since 2011. Their manager, Buck Showalter.
Technically, it's a balk. You don't want to call if you're in the other dugout, but you always feel bad when games are not decided by the players. Of course, you can say they were because he balked, but it's very technical. You got to step off there, and he didn't.
Sixth walk-off balk in Major League Baseball in the last 10 seasons. First walk-off balk, which the Royals have won in their franchise history. In South Florida, the Marlins take a 1-0 lead to the ninth against the Phillies.
The kick, the pitch. Swung on, hit well, left field. Going back on a De La Cruz at the track, at the wall. He can't catch it. It's off the wall. It's in play. It bounds away. Cave is around third. He's going to score. And Bryce Harper has tied it up with one out here in the top of the ninth inning. It's 1-1.
Phillies tie it up. Harper, after the double, is on second with Nick Castellanos following him in the lineup.
The 0-2. Swung on, hit deep, left field. De La Cruz out of room. It's gone. Nick Castellanos crushes it to straightaway left. and the Phillies have a ninth inning lead. It's 3-1.
3-1 would be the final. Sports Radio 94 WIP. Castellanos, the go-ahead two-run shot in the ninth. His third career go-ahead homer in the ninth inning or later after Bryce Harper had the game-tying RBI double in the ninth. Phillies beat the Marlins 3-1. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
As far as, what we have going on here, I kind of live by saying if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away. Obviously, we're doing something right if you got to talk about us when we don't play you till week 4.
Sean Payton's not shy about letting people know how he feels about things. If he gets asked a question, he's going to answer it bluntly. And I think that's what he was doing while also sending a message to everybody within his organization about what the culture is going to be moving forward.
For a guy like Sean Payton, it was a small move by him. You don't have to mention his name. You don't have to mention the New York Jets.
More than just ripples in the water last week when Sean Payton ripped the Broncos coaching from last year. Aaron Rodgers in New York coming to the defense of Nathaniel Hackett, the former Broncos head coach, who's now the offensive coordinator for the Jets. Tuesday, Hackett was at the mic in New York saying Payton broke that code with his comments. So he wasn't all that surprised.
I just think that within this glass house that we all live in, and it's one of those things, it's very expected. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. You knew he was going to handle it that way at some point. It's how it was going all last year. And but hey, now it is what it is, and we move on. I'm very excited about this team. There's been a lot of really good stuff going on here, and I want to be sure we're focusing on that because that's in the past. Learn from your mistakes, move on, all of us.
But as for that pass, does Hackett expect an apology from Sean Payton?
No.
Do you expect him to follow through?
No.
You don't?
No.
Would you answer the call?
I've never met the guy, so let's get on from it. That was last week. We can move on from it.
Hackett saying that he's been blasted publicly for a year now, but now he's the offensive coordinator for the Jets. Speaking of being blasted, how about the pushback after what we've seen at the World Cup? Sports Center all night continues. It's ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Will. Coming up Wednesday, we've ranked our QBs and cheese so far this week. Find out what we'll rank next. Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern. ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
This is Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
When your celebration of life is prepaid in advance, it becomes a gift from you to your family later. Because no one should have to plan for a loss while they're experiencing one. Paying in advance protects your loved ones and gives you the peace of mind you deserve. Let us help you plan every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Palm Mortuaries and Cemeteries. Find us at dignitymemorial.com.
Fresh produce is the best produce. That's why at Smith's, we invest in local farmers to bring you the freshest seasonal picks. So no matter how you shop, your local produce always tastes 100% fresh, or you get a 100% refund, guaranteed. Smith's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Smith's, fresh for everyone.
Don't miss the final days of end-of-season deals during the Truckload event at Lowe's. Right now, save on major appliances and get an additional 10% off in-store clearance appliances. Plus, you can get up to 35% off select tools and accessories. Find big savings during the final days of the Truckload event, happening now. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/2. Exclusions apply while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
Back to school savings are red hot this year at Office Depot Office Max. Shop today and save up to 60% on our best-selling school supplies from the brands you know and love, like Crayola, Sharpie, Texas Instruments, 5-Star, and more. Plus, give your schoolwork a professional touch with deals on tech, including amazing savings on HP printers. Shop in-store and at OfficeDepot.com to stock up and save on everything you need to start the new school year strong. Success is in session, and so are the savings at Office Depot Office Max.
Whether you're doing a dance to your favorite artist in the office parking lot, or being guided into Warrior One in the break room before your shift, whether you're running on your Peloton tread at your mom's house while she watches the baby, or counting your breaths on the subway,
inhaling and long exhaling.
Peloton is for all of us, wherever we are, whenever we need it. Download the free Peloton app today. Peloton app available through free tier or paid subscription starting at $12.99 per month.
If you're worried about money, you're not alone. 2/3 of Americans say they're stressed out because of finances. Rocket Money is here to help. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps track your spending by letting you set custom budgets and sends you alerts when you're about to go over them. Plus, Rocket Money lets you see all your subscriptions and cancel the ones you don't want with a single tap. To learn more, go to rocketmoney.com/offer or download the Rocket Money app from the Apple app or Google Play stores.
At eBay, expert authenticators inspect every detail of select handbags, sneakers, watches, and jewelry you love. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal with eBay's Authenticity Guarantee. Everyone deserves real. Visit ebay.com for terms.
Sounds familiar? When's the last time you changed your brakes? Old, worn-out brakes lose their stopping power, making them unreliable when you need them most. When it comes time to replace the brakes on your ride, upgrade with PowerStop. No matter if you drive a car, truck, or SUV, join the thousands of drivers that have already turned their vehicle into a stopping powerhouse with a complete low-dust, noise-free brake upgrade kit from PowerStop. Head to PowerStop.com and find your next brake upgrade.
When your celebration of life is prepaid in advance, it becomes a gift from you to your family later, because no one should have to plan for a loss while they're experiencing one. Paying in advance protects your loved ones and gives you the peace of mind you deserve. Let us help you plan every detail with professionalism.
SportsCenter All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
SportsCenter All Night, ESPN Radio. Certainly a quick turnaround for the PGA Tour after complaints about its lack of transparency before its surprising alliance with the DP World Tour, the Saudi Public Investment Fund. A group of 41 PGA Tour players, including Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Jon Rahm, and Tiger Woods, sending a letter to the PGA Tour on Monday demanding more involvement in decisions which shape the future. On Tuesday, one day later, the PGA Tour adds Tiger Woods as a sixth player director and made significant changes to its governance structure. In a statement, the tour saying the player directors and PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan will work to amend influential policy board governing documents to ensure that, quote, no major decision can be made in the future without the prior involvement and approval of player directors. New England Revolution on Tuesday placing coach Bruce Arena on administrative leave pending an investigation from Major League Soccer into allegations that he made insensitive and inappropriate remarks. Arena has been in charge of the Revolution since 2019. The team currently second place in the Eastern Conference in MLS. Arena, of course, is former two-time coach of the U.S. men's national team as well. As for the U.S. women's national team, they're into the knockout phase of the World Cup, but certainly not comfortably. The U.S. advancing with their draw a night ago, but they also saw Portugal have a shot go off the post in extra time. Could have been disastrous for Team USA. Here's our Michelle Steele.
It was the closest of close calls. The U.S. holding Portugal to a scoreless draw and advancing, but getting slammed for lack of passion from one of their own, former U.S. women's national team legend Carly Lloyd. Saying on television after the game, I have never witnessed something like that. To be dancing, to be smiling. The player of the match was that host. You're lucky to not be going home right now. Head coach Vlatko Andonovski hit back.
This team wanted to win this game more than anything else, to question the mentality of this team, to question the willingness to win, to compete. I think it's insane.
I don't think it was really necessary to say what she what she said.
Allie Krieger played with Carly Lloyd on 3 World Cup squads, winning the championship twice.
They're allowed to smile. They're allowed to enjoy the moment. They're allowed to be happy that they made it into the 16 with a tie. Yeah, that's not something we love to celebrate because we're not used to that, right? We can say that in a way that's not too arrogant.
This isn't the first time Lloyd has criticized her former team, saying last year players are too focused on building their brands and not winning.
I don't agree with that because I think as women, we can multitask, right? We can make our money. We can play at the highest level. We can, win championships all at the same time. I don't think we would be saying that about any of the men, male athletes on the men's side, doing everything and also playing at the highest level.
The Americans now have an opportunity to reset ahead of the knockout stage, and they don't lack for confidence, with Megan Rapinoe telling ESPN, "I just would never bet against us," flashing the camera a smile. I'm Michelle Steele, ESPN.
U.S. still in contention, finishing second in Group E, good enough to move them into the round of 16. Sports Center all night. ESPN Radio. Back to baseball. The Braves getting production from the lower portion of their lineup on Tuesday.
The 0-2, Michael swings and sends a drive to deep right field. That's got a chance to get out of here. That is way out of here. Home run Harris. 2-1 Atlanta. He's in double figures. His 10th of the year.
680 The Fan. Braves a 5-1 win over the Angels. Harris, his third career multi-homer game and second this season. Harris, the fourth 9-hole hitter to have multiple homers of 425 feet in a game over the last 15 seasons. Braves combined had 3 homers from their 8th and 9th hitters. Pirates and Tigers.
Now they're set in the 1-0 pitch. Swinging a fly ball hit well out to left. Deep, Badu back, running out of room. There it goes. Home run. Lee over Peguero. A 2-out, 2-run shot, his third of the year, and the Pirates lead it 3-0.
Pirates would win 4-1. Pirates have won 3 straight. Tigers have lost 6 of their last 7. They went to make a move at the trade deadline, but it was nixed. Their ace, Eduardo Rodriguez, using his no-trade clause to veto a deal that would have sent him from the Tigers to the Dodgers. Harris confirmed, the general manager, Scott Harris, confirming the team had an agreement on a trade with the Dodgers and that Rodriguez exercised his no-trade clause prior to the deadline. He can't opt out of his $77 million 5-year contract after the season and become a free agent. Well, how about the performance we saw on the mound on Tuesday? More on that next. Sports Center all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Greeny.
Alabama was 2 plays away from a perfect season. You write off Alabama at your own peril. I am most certainly not going to do that with you.
Weekday mornings at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
Everyone said I'd have to leave my job to earn a marketing degree. Everyone except WGU. Their competency-based online model let me complete assignments and take tests at my pace with no set login times. I also used what I already knew to earn my degree faster, all while keeping my job. Now I'm ready to advance my career with an industry-aligned degree aligned with the American Marketing Association. Learn more and get started at wgu.edu.
Summer is here and Cal Ranch has all the gear to make it one to remember. Hit the waters with kayaks and inflatable tubes. Fill up your tackle box with the essentials. Be the king of the barbecue with new smokers and grills. Relax in camp chairs around the fire. And get a good night's rest with cozy sleeping bags in your new tent from Cal Ranch.
We're your Cal Ranch store, a ranch and home store, and so much more.
Coverage begins Saturday at 8 Eastern and Sunday at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio. You can also listen on the ESPN app and on your smart speaker. Can't Canty and Carlin.
You destroyed me for me having the gall to ask the question when I was in Costco about what the etiquette is around the samples. Now, look, I went, there was a grilled cheese stuffable little pocket. That was unreal, Canty. She's taking it out of the little microwave and putting it into the little foil cups and handing it to me. And I had one. I'm like, oh, man, that's amazing. I walk around, I come back, I get a second. So I asked the question on TikTok, that guy Carlin, what is the etiquette here? I must know because, yeah, I'm not new to this, but I don't want to be the guy that hovers and just stands around and plays defense and I'm boxing out like I'm Dennis Rodman. The third time I went back, I was rather stealth, trying to hide behind a family and trying to slide my right arm in between the two of them. And I look up and she saw me. And Canty, I got the side eye.
Nothing for you. Canty and Carlin, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and on Sirius XM Channel 80.
It's Larry Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
Hello, Mr. Feinbaum.
Well, hello.
My name is Matthew. I'm 12, and I've called before. I like the show, but some of the callers aren't the sharpest knives in the drawer. So I guess that is part of the entertainment factor.
For 12, you're just simply too smart. You've got this thing figured out.
Yep.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC network.
How do you bond with someone you have nothing in common with?
You game last night?
Answer, fantasy football. How do you reconnect with old friends? Answer, fantasy football. How do you spice up small talk? How do you overcome awkward situations? How do you prove to your peers that you're a smart, capable, devastatingly good-looking force to be reckoned with, and nothing they can do or say will ever change that? Answer, ESPN Fantasy Football. Play the #1 fantasy game. Sign up at ESPN.com/fantasy football. Insights provided by IBM Watson.
Hey, I'm Greg McElroy, former Alabama quarterback and host of Always College Football from Omaha Productions. 5 days a week, I'll be taking a deep dive into the world of college football with some of the biggest names on and off the field. And off seasons here are a thing of the past. Always College Football goes year-round with analysis, opinions, and insight from the top teams from coast to coast. Always College Football with Greg McElroy. Available where you get your podcast.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on Sports Center All Night.
The other shoe drops in New York. The Mets waving the white flag at the trade deadline. They wind up losing in Kansas City on a walk-off balk. Houston's Framber Valdez, meanwhile, no hits the Guardians.
Here's the 0-2 to Gallagher. Broken bat, soft liner. Pena catches it, and a no-hitter. Framber Valdez. First one to greet him is Maldonado, and the rest of his teammates pile on. Framber Valdez throws the 16th no-hitter in Houston Astros history.
KBME with the call, 2-0 the final. Houston gets the win, 16th no-hitter in Astros history. Valdez, though, the first left-handed pitcher in Astros history to throw a no-hitter. His manager, Dusty Baker.
He started out with a bang. I mean, he had his breaking ball from the very, very beginning. And did he strike out the side in the first inning? He struck out 2 out of 3. And, I mean, you could tell he was on, and he stayed on. You know, a lot of times Framber start off on and great and then have a rough inning somewhere in between there lately. But today his concentration was at a superior level. And, you know, him and Maldi worked, you know, great together. And, you know, he only shook him off a couple times, I think, if that. And, you know, when a guy gets in a rhythm like that, and most no-hitters, you don't see many walks and he's in the windup almost the whole time. And so therefore he kept his rhythm going and his composure.
Houston getting the no-hitter on the same day that at the trade deadline they bring back Justin Verlander. Mets sending Verlander and a boatload of cash to Houston in exchange for a couple of prospects. ESPN's Baseball Tonight crew, Carl Ravitch, Eduardo Perez, Tim Kirchin, and Buster Olney.
They now have basically shed Mark Canha. They said David Robertson. They moved Verlander. They moved Scherzer. This was the team we all thought had a real legitimate chance to win it all. Now they're paying people to take their guys.
They're paying people to take their guys, and they're opening up now the pockets maybe for next year, and they're realizing that David Robertson, who was put in a situation to close this year, they got pretty good stuff for him. He was supposed to be a setup for Edwin Diaz. This is all the snowball effect, in my opinion, for not having Edwin Diaz all season long. The pitching was in disarray. They were inconsistent. The starting pitching, losing Quintana early on, caused Max Scherzer and now Justin Verlander from the mound to now go to other organizations.
I'm just not sure what their rotation is going to look like next year with no Scherzer, no Verlander, Kodai Senga, and then David Peterson. And then where do you go from there? There's not a whole lot of help in the minor leagues. Tyler McGill is going to have to come back and be really good. That's my concern looking forward to next year for the Mets. Who's in their rotation?
And who's making the decisions on who's in the rotation?
Well, the conversation last week within the Mets front office was, look, we can bring back all these guys and look at 2023 as an outlier and just run it back with Verlander and Scherzer a year older. But Steve Cohen is not about hope. You know, he wasn't going to just hope that they got better next year, so they dramatically changed their path. Billy Epler, the general manager, was trying to push back on the idea that this is a full rebuild, that they can't contend next year. You know, we'll see. It may turn out to be a gap year. When they went out and essentially bought all these prospects, trying to stock.
So we're all just going to go tour Europe and then we'll come back.
There, exactly.
Well, the reality is that they have to look within their own division and say, are the Braves better than us this year and next year? The answer is yes.
Not even close.
Right.
Radically.
Are the Marlins pitching-wise and talent-wise coming up, are they better and younger than them next year? The answer right now is yes.
Yes.
And if you look at the Phillies, the same thing can be said for them. So that's why the Mets have to have an overhaul and figure out with free agency what they're going to do in the offseason.
So let's just sort of what went wrong with the New York Mets. You touched on the fact that we lost Diaz in the beginning of the year. But if you look at it offensively, like Alonso has been a little inconsistent. McNeil has not had that same year. And I thought when Steve Cohen said after the Correa deal was allegedly going through, like we got the missing piece, was an acknowledgement we're not complete. We're missing a piece.
And the piece needs to be someone who hits home runs, especially when you're in the same division as the Braves, same division as the Phillies. It felt like a middleweight going up against heavyweights in that lineup. And last year worked better because all these guys sort of chipped in a little bit. But when guys like Mark Canha got off to bad starts, how thin that lineup was completely exposed.
And at the trade deadline, the Mets wind up unloading. There were other moves made. There were dozens of deals leading up to the deadline. And on Tuesday, among the moves made, the Orioles get pitcher Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals. Blue Jays acquiring infielder Paul DeJong from the Cardinals as well, giving the Blue Jays insurance after shortstop Bo Bichette, the American League batting leader, left Monday's game against the Orioles with knee soreness. He's officially considered day-to-day, but the Blue Jays pick up Paul DeJong. Phillies acquiring all-star pitcher Michael Lorenzen from the Tigers. Braves get veteran reliever Brad Hand from the Rockies. Padres mark the left-hander's ninth different team. Padres acquiring Rich Hill from the Pirates. San Diego also receiving Ji-Man Choi in the deal as well. Padres, like the Mets, had high expectations, but have underperformed. But unlike the Mets, who became big sellers, the Padres became buyers. Back to our Baseball Tonight crew.
This is the one time a year when small sample size can make the biggest difference. What I was hearing from executives of other teams was their sense was that A.J. Preller was out there assessing value on Josh Hader and on Snell and on Soto. But at the same time, they could sense that A.J. didn't want to sell. And guess what? The major league team had a great weekend against the Rangers, and all of a sudden they're buyers. And they get Choi, they get Rich Hill, they augment the team, they go from being potential sellers to being buyers in a hurry.
Right. Hader and Snell are free agents at the end of the year. The logical thing to do would be to move both of them because you might not be able to re-sign them. But like you said, Ravi, when you have these kind of expectations and the season began with the Padres as the sexiest team in baseball, I don't see any way that they could sell at this point because they still have a shot at the playoffs. And if they do get into the playoffs, which is a long shot, but if they do, would you want to face this team in the playoffs? I know I wouldn't.
I'll tell you this right now. Blake Snell has been absolutely nasty. And not only has he been nasty, I like that they ended up getting Choi as well in this trade because they've struggled against right-handed pitching. So at least now you have a bat that has had a lot of success at Petco and 14 at-bats. This guy raked with 2 home runs. He lives for these moments. We saw it with Tampa Bay in big times. I think Choi is going to be an interesting piece to this whole puzzle.
Baseball's trade deadline now in the past. These teams are now set as we head down towards the stretch of the baseball season. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. Back to the diamond. Eduardo mentioning the Rays. They beat the Yankees 5-2. Rays lead the season series 6-3. They can clinch the season series with a win on Wednesday. Yankees with a 3-game losing streak against Tampa Bay, their longest against the Rays since a 6-game slide in 2020. Rangers shut out the White Sox 2-0. Rangers snapping a 3-game losing streak with their 8th shutout of the season. Huge offensive day for the Cubs.
Here comes the next pitch. Tauchman drives one in the air, left center field and deep. Back toward the wall. It's got a chance. Gone. 3-run homer, Mike Tauchman. Cubs lead 10-2.
They were halfway to their total. Cubs Radio Network 20-9, the final. Cubs 20 runs, their most against the Reds since 1937. They scored multiple runs in each of the first 4 innings. First time they've done that since 1996. Cubs scoring in double digits for the 17th time this season. Only the Rangers have done so more often. Brewers and Nationals.
3-2 pitch. Line drive, right field, falling fast. It's in there for a base hit. Scoring from third, Monasterio. Terang coming to the plate. Down the throw is up the first baseline from Thomas. Joey Weimer, 2 outs, 2-run single. What an at-bat from the rookie. And the Brewers have played it 4 with 2 out in the 4th.
And the Brewers with a 6-4 win over the Nationals. Their win snaps a 4-game losing streak. They move within a game of the Reds for the NL Central lead. WTMJ with the call. Twins a 3-2 win over the Cardinals, snapping a 5-game losing streak. Had been tied for their longest losing streak of the season. Padres get a couple of home runs from Juan Soto. They beat the Rockies 8-5. Soto now with 22 homers on the season, 15th career multi-homer game. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
The University of Colorado leaving the Pac-12 for the Big 12. The move will happen after next season.
We looked at it from a lot of lenses. First and foremost, what we felt was best for our student athletes.
If you're Oregon and Washington, what is the benefit of expanding? Because when you expand, you have to slice the monetary pie up more. And of the remaining Pac-12 schools who could go to the Big 12, Arizona would be the likely favorite to go next.
It was 13 years ago, Colorado decided to bolt from the uncertainty of the Big 12 for what looked like an up-and-coming Pac-12. Fast forward to 2023, and Colorado is shaking up the landscape again, bolting the uncertainty of the Pac-12 to return to a revived Big 12. And that has left a number of questions for the Pac-12. Among them, will there be a Pac-12? And if so, what will it look like? Tuesday, conference leaders were presented with the structure of a new viewership deal. The new package, streaming. ESPN's Pete Thamel.
It's an important day for the Pac-12 in a lot of ways because they've essentially waited a full year to get the full presentation of what a TV deal could look like. Remember, the Pac-12 has just 1 year left on its remaining deal, so there's been a sense of urgency that's only been upped by Colorado's departure last week. So right now, this Apple deal is intriguing, and all the schools around the league are digesting it as a possibility. It is stream heavy, primarily streaming from my understanding, and the money is going to be tied to subscriptions. So there is some ambiguity over what it would look like after the first couple of years, because what Apple wants to do is get people to subscribe to watch the Pac-12. Is that a sound strategy, considering the passion that we've seen around the Pac-12, the failures of the Pac-12 network? We're about to find out. But they need a way to lure Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah back off the ledge as they're being heavily courted by the Big 12. So I just think generally having a concise plan is a step forward for the Pac-12.
You mentioned Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. The Big 12's courting them. They're riding momentum. Do you think a deal like this would be enough to sway those three staples to stay in the conference?
It's interesting because I don't think it's what the presidents and athletic directors really wanted. Remember when Rick George, the Colorado athletic director, made comments, he said, look, we wanted to be on linear television. We wanted to be on Fox and ESPN. So it's going to take a little leap of faith that the world continues to stream. And by the end of this deal, which would be short, this is the way that America consumes its college athletics. So I think there's still ambiguity hanging over the Pac-12. Stop me if we haven't talked about that before, Al.
Arizona, Arizona State, Utah could decide together what to do, either leave or stay as a group. Also from the college sports landscape, Northwestern hiring Loretta Lynch to lead the investigation into the culture and accountability in the athletic department following the allegations of hazing and mistreatment. Loretta Lynch, former U.S. Attorney General. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
As far as, what we have going on here, I kind of live by saying if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping. So hate away. Obviously, we're doing something right if you got to talk about us when we don't play you till week 4.
Sean Payton's not shy about letting people know how he feels about things. If he gets asked a question, he's going to answer it bluntly. And I think that's what he was doing while also sending a message to everybody within his organization about what the culture is going to be moving forward.
For a guy like Sean Payton, it was a small move by him. You don't have to mention his name. You don't have to mention the New York Jets.
Comments from Sean Payton came last week. His latest comments, Aaron Rodgers defending Nathaniel Hackett in the wake of those comments. Hackett spoke on Tuesday saying coaches live in the same glass house, shouldn't be throwing stones. ESPN's Diana Rossini was there.
They really feel that this has galvanized them as a team. Today, Hackett walked up to that podium and spoke unprompted. He came out and you could tell he had a message and he wanted that to be heard in response to Sean Payton's comments. And he shared how this has galvanized the team, how players he doesn't even really know that well on the defensive side of the ball were coming up to him to show support. But most important, Kevin, the most important person on this team has shown him support, and that was Aaron Rodgers. A source in the building shared with me that Rodgers has been with Hackett, obviously, over the last few days. They're here at practice, but he's the one in Hackett's ear reminding him why he's here, reminding him that he's a great offensive mind, that the team is appreciative of him being here. And that confidence and belief in him has really helped Hackett get through and past the situation.
Hackett saying he's moving on. He's now the Jets offensive coordinator. The other team where negative comments could wind up galvanizing them. That's next. Sports Center All Night continues. It's ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Will. Coming up Wednesday, we'll continue our ESPN Radio two-a-days with the Bucks. Is this Baker Mayfield's last chance to rekindle his career? Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
ESPN Radio Sports Center all night. More next.
Summer is here and Cal Ranch has all the gear to make it one to remember. Hit the waters with kayaks and inflatable tubes. Fill up your tackle box with the essentials. Be the king of the barbecue with new smokers and grills. Relaxing camp chairs around the fire. And get a good night's rest with cozy sleeping bags in your new tent from Cal Ranch.
We're your Cal Ranch store, a ranch and home store, and so much more.
Fresh produce is the best produce. That's why at Smith's, we invest in local farmers to bring you the freshest seasonal picks. So no matter how you shop, your local produce always tastes 100% fresh, or you get a 100% refund, guaranteed. Smith's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Smith's, fresh for everyone.
Wells Fargo lets you know where you stand with your FICO credit score. What if you knew where you stood with everything? Like your kids' friends.
Hey, boys. How do cows stay informed?
Dad, don't.
They read the Moo paper.
Mr. Otis, you're the funniest. It's good to know where you stand. And when it comes to your FICO credit score, you can with a Wells Fargo account.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getfico to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. FICO is a registered trademark of Fair Isaac Corporation in the United States and other countries. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
Summer is here and Cal Ranch has all the gear to make it one to remember. Hit the waters with kayaks and inflatable tubes. Fill up your tackle box with the essentials. Be the king of the barbecue with new smokers and grills. Relax in camp chairs around the fire. And get a good night's rest with cozy sleeping bags in your new tent from Cal Ranch.
We're your Cal Ranch store, a ranch and home store, and so much more.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. The past 24 hours have seen a number of adjectives being used to describe what we saw from the U.S. women's national team. Uninspired, disjointed, things of that nature. They did advance to the knockout stage at the World Cup, but certainly not how folks expected. As for the mood, ESPN's Alexis Nunes.
Understandably, they are just not feeling as confident as we'd like them to feel. There's definitely feelings of frustration that I saw from the players yesterday when they came out to do the interviews following that 0-0 draw with Portugal, because it just capped off what has been a very underwhelming group stage for the U.S. women's national team. And it's put them in a position where we're not used to seeing them in. The fact that they've advanced second from the group, a group that many expected them to take by the horns and just pretty much dominate as well, with their biggest challenge being the Netherlands. They've only fed into the worries that so many people had getting into this World Cup, and that was, is this team good enough to deliver that three-peat? But overall, the players are feeling frustrated.
And they could have been sent home had they lost to Portugal. The Portuguese, of course, had a ball go off the post in extra time. The U.S., though, survives, earns the draw, and they do advance. So how do we view it?
You can look at it in two different ways. One, like Kelly O'Hara, she told me straight up, look, we came in here and we knew we had to get a job done, which was to advance to the next round, and we did it. So I look at it as job done. And then if you're ready to hit those panic stations, you probably just want to listen to what Alex Morgan said. And she said, I have been here in so many times in my career. Back in 2011, they finished second out the group, and they still made it all the way to the final. And in her opinion, and who are we to doubt Alex Morgan, she said this roster is good enough to make it to the final. But even though we wanted to see them choose the path of least resistance, as we talked about yesterday.
On Fox, Carly Lloyd, quite critical of the U.S. women's national team. The team, though, calling the criticism insane. Earlier on ESPN Radio, our Marcel Louis-Jacques.
You can go one of two. You can do one of two things, right? When somebody who you looked up to playing the game, a legend in the sport, something like a role model, calls you out. You can sit around and pout, or you can get mad, you can get motivated, and you can go be productive. I think that's the latter. That's what we're going to see. This is still a championship team. This is still one of the best teams in the world, even if they're not necessarily playing like it through the group stages. I would expect to see a new U.S. women's national team next time they take the pitch.
they do advance to the knockout stage, they will be in the round of 16. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. How about Tuesday's top sounds? Bet I can guess what'll be included here. Let's find out. Jim Baskerville.
Number 3.
Jay, the Padres could have been sellers at the trade deadline. Instead, they added, despite the sub-500 record. Perhaps the reason they did was because they still have Juan Soto, who connected not once, but twice a mile high. 97.3 The Fan.
1-0 the pitch, and Soto hits it in the air to deep center again. Doyle going back at the wall again, looking up, gonna go again. Juan Soto with his second home run of the night, and the Padres lead 6-4 here in the 8th.
Number 2.
The Phillies couldn't figure out Cy Young winner Sandy Alcantara all night. The righty threw 8 scoreless and gave the ball to new closer David Robertson. Just what the Phils needed, evidenced by a 3-run ninth capped by this. Sports Radio 94 WIP.
The 0-2. Swung on. Hit deep. Left field. De La Cruz out of room. It's gone. Nick Castellanos crushes it to straightaway left. And the Phillies have a 9th inning lead. It's 3-1.
Number 1.
And on the day the defending World Series champion Astros reacquire 3-time Cy Young winner Justin Verlander, they get an ace-like performance from Framber Valdez, who capped off this gem versus the Guardians on his 93rd pitch. KBME 790 AM.
Here's the 0-2 to Gallagher. Broken bat, soft liner. Pena catches it, and a no-hitter. Framber Valdez. First one to greet him is Maldonado, and the rest of his teammates pile on. Framber Valdez throws the 16th no-hitter in Houston Astros history.
And as Jim mentioned, on the day they get Verlander back. Teams in Texas getting pitching. Rangers and Astros. Teams in California, Angels, Padres wind up being buyers. But on the other side, who lost the trade deadline? ESPN analyst Eduardo Perez.
Scott Harris and the Detroit Tigers. Look, this could have been his moment. It could have been his moment as a general manager to say, we have to trade Eduardo Rodriguez because he is going to be able to exercise his option. Eduardo wants to stay in Detroit. He wants to stay there, but he wants to see the commitment from the Tigers, and he even had told them, back again the organization from being able to get prospects, arms, guys that are healthy and could help you in the future. And right now, the Detroit Tigers did not make a move that could have helped their organization move forward quickly in a division that's pretty weak.
Tigers losing last night. They've dropped 6 of their last 7. It's Wednesday, August 2nd. Much more reaction to the trade deadline this morning. Amber Wilson, Jay Williams are up next. I'm Jay Reynolds. Back tomorrow with Sports Center all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Yo, it's Jay Will. Coming up on Wednesday. Every year, Cowboy fans believe this is the year. Well, when are we going to stop believing in Dak Prescott? Don't miss it. 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPN.
Do you love working with kids? Lead structured programs for K-5 students with enthusiasm and foster motivation, innovation, and involvement. Work up to 25 hours per week during a flexible shift in the morning and afternoon. Visit LasVegasNevada.gov/jobs. That's LasVegasNevada.gov/jobs to learn more.
Welcome to Ashley. What are you shopping for?
New mattress.
Excellent. Right this way. So here we've got the all-new Tempur-Pedic Breeze collection, the ultimate solution for hot sleepers. The advanced cooling technology keeps you cool all night, paired with the comfort you'd expect from Tempur-Pedic, so you can sleep deep and wake up refreshed.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Thanks for your help.
Don't sweat it.
Cooler, better sleep starts at Ashley. Stop by an Ashley store to talk with one of our sleep experts today.
Do things feel kind of off for you lately? I'm Carl from the Body app. That's BODI.com. And here's how I get back to feeling good. First, I schedule some of our short workouts. I dial in my nutrition with our meal plans. And I listen to our positive mindset masterclasses. Now I want you to join me. And if you don't lose like 10 pounds and feel strong and even mentally more healthy in a month, you don't pay. We'll even let you try it free for 14 days. Join me at body.com. That's BODI.com.
O'Reilly. Increase your vehicle's performance and gas mileage with Lucas Fuel Treatment at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply add it to your tank at your next fill-up to eliminate carbon and varnish deposits. Right now, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Treatment for $10. See store for details. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Wells Fargo lets you know where you stand with your FICO credit score. What if you knew where you stood with everything? Like your kids' friends.
Hey, boys. How do cows stay informed?
Dad, don't.
They read the Moo paper. Mr. Otis, you're the funniest.
It's good to know where you stand. And when it comes to your FICO credit score, you can with a Wells Fargo account.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getFICO to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. FICO is a registered trademark of Fair Isaac Corporation in the United States and other countries. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
130 million households will need to pay a new can tax so Cleveland Cliffs can line their pockets. Cleveland Cliffs is demanding tariffs on tin plate steel, which is used for canned goods. How much? Up to a 300% increase that makes everyday essentials more expensive, hitting you and the most vulnerable hardest at a time when consumers can least afford it. Tell Congress, protect consumers from even higher grocery prices. Say no to the Cleveland Cliffs can tax.
Hello and welcome to The Smiths Show. At Smiths, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Smiths app, you get the same great prices,
I know what's expected. So I'm trying to fill the shoes of those guys that have come before me.
Just out of the gun.
And do something for this organization that hasn't been done in a long time.
And snap his back. Blitz again.
I plan for this to be the golden year.
Deep fade left side. Action. Touchdown.
Look at us starting the show with some Dallas Cowboys sound. I feel like America's team, Jay.
Amber. America.
It's weird because before I was on national, because now I love everything we do here on national. Before I was on national, I used to get annoyed. Like we used to talk on local, a little bit of trash about you national folks because you spend so much time on the Dallas Cowboys, even when they're not interesting, because it is America's team. Now, I'm part of the problem now that I'm here at ESPN. But what's funny is this summer, I don't feel like we've been doing that at all.
So now
and
you're
they
okay
are
with
interesting.
it? Now you're okay with it that we're doing it? Now you're part of the problem? That's what you're trying to tell me, Amber?
I mean, I'm okay with a lot of things once you start paying me to do them.
Paychecks change a lot, Amber. They change a lot, don't they?
They really do. They change perspectives. But I feel like we haven't been talking about Dallas as much as we normally do in the off season. Good morning, by the way, Jay Williams. Amber Wilson, Jay Williams here with you on ESPN Radio. ESPN Radio presented to you by Progressive Insurance.
Amber, did I get a good morning from you?
You got a good morning.
Oh my, because usually, Amber, you come in, you like to get bing, 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 bing. Like it was funny.
Formal, like
I go
that.
home like after a long day and like I go and I see my wife. I'm like, hey, good to see you. She's like, hey, did you get this done? Did you get that done? I'm like, okay, like we're on our Bill Belichick task force. I see it, like I'm on it. And I'm used to it. But when I get a good morning, my ears perk up. I'm like, good morning. How are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good. Did you have the coffee? Do we have the 5X mug? Coffee mug this morning?
I have it for you right here. I did have some coffee this morning. I need to refill it.
There it is. Okay.
So there you go.
We're already on in.
We are ready. We are liquid caffeinated somewhat, at least anyways, this morning.
Did you see the fight yesterday? The beef that occurred between Chris Canty and Ryan Clark? I love stuff.
No.
I live for stuff like this, Amber.
Ooh, do tell. I think I missed this.
So obviously there was Chris Canty, who has his show, Canty and Carlin. Big time show. I love CC. He's my man. See him coming in the studio, by the way. Biggest thighs I've ever seen. Not that I stare at another man's thighs, but sometimes as a 6'2" smaller guard, there's some you see other people that play certain positions. You're like, wow, I'm glad I never got hit by a person like him. So
I don't know if I spent a lot of time staring at Canty's thighs.
That's fine.
Which is probably appropriate.
That's fine.
However, Canty, for those of you who do not know, is a incredibly large human.
Yes.
I have never felt more petite than I have hanging out with Chris Canty.
See, now you get my sentiment. You understand what I mean. There's certain people that you see in life. You're like, wow, okay, I saw Shaq, and I'm like, I get it. I don't want to be hit by you. Anyway, Chris Canty was speaking the other day about Sean Payton and was talking about certain analysts or pundits, as he referred to, getting on their high moral horse about Sean Payton and saying, he understands how sensitive athletes are. And if anybody knew Sean Payton, he knew that he was going to the utmost degree to protect the fragility of his quarterback. This is what I said yesterday, Amber. And you agree with it. You thought it was past a certain code, and we'll hear, people talk about it today. Obviously, it's an ongoing theme as it relates to Nathaniel Hackett and the Jets, and everybody's sensitive around it. But it turned into quite the exchange on social media, because then Ryan Clark posted on Chris Canty's page. So Chris Canty posted this commentary, and then Ryan Clark said, "Keep my name out of your mouth, fam. Not the way I do business. Analyze what you're paid to, not me. Much appreciated." And then after that, it goes into a little bit back and forth. Chris Canty then said, "Don't care how much you do or don't do business, champ. I'm going to talk my talk." Then Ryan Clark went back at him. "Understood, brother. I'll respect you enough to not include your name in my analyst. Much as I feel Sean shouldn't address other coaches, I feel that's how I should do my job. I hear you loud and clear. I know the energy here forward. All I can ask, and apparently you really care how I do business." Chris Canty, if you want to be in your feelings about my take on something you said, by all means. And by all means, Amber, I'm here for all of it, damn it. I love it. Now I want to see how these two see each other in the hallways in Bristol. I just love when beefs come out. Has this ever happened to you with your time here? You say something, somebody else disagrees, or they post it, it goes viral, and then you kind of go back and forth. Have you had this experience?
It hasn't gotten personal with me, with anybody here at ESPN. I feel like they're first taking in their timeline on social media, these two guys, right? Because these two guys often, they have the hot takes, both of them. They do embrace the whole first take world. Now they're just debating in their comments. But no, it's never been personal between me and, not yet. Jay, there's always time.
Well, hold on, Amber. Last year, I remember when I made a prediction, we were talking about Heat Celtics, and I said Celtics in 5.
Wait, was this like your prediction before? Like, hey, I'm going to pick the breakdowns. I'm going to pick the Heat to win?
It was actually happened to be Canty and Carlin. I was working with them, and we were talking about that Heat Celtics series, and I said Heat in 5. I was getting destroyed on Twitter by Heat fans.
That's true. But that wasn't me.
Amber.
No, I may have been the person. I may have been the person who distributed it out to Heat Nation. I did make the Heat brethren aware of Nuno's take, but I wasn't the one that went after Nuno.
And she was liking everything.
Amber lives for stuff like that.
She was liking stuff, retweeting things. I mean,
these Heat fans had really good points, Nuno. And your take was trash. So,
but look, all right.
But it wasn't personal, baby. It's just business. It's strictly business, right?
That's what it is. It's business. But there is an interesting point, though, where you could tell, Amber, it starts to get a little bit uncomfortable. And when it gets uncomfortable, I am here with my buttered popcorn and my Coca-Cola, ready to watch the show.
I mean, I
I'm
have
here for it.
definitely run into that sort of beef, the heat take beef with like Kevin Winter, who does our sports centers here at ESPN Radio, Ben Rivera, who's one of our producers here. Like, I have definitely had those sorts of arguments with people behind the scenes here at ESPN Radio, but never on social actually calling out their takes other than that time when Nuno super deserved it.
All right. Speaking of reacting to something someone said, Chris Canty said some wild stuff yesterday. Let's react to that.
Look at that transition.
Kyler Murray's going to be available this offseason, right? The Arizona Cardinals have waved the white flag before the season starts. They're tanking. They're going to try to get one of those signal callers next year, whether it's Drake May, Caleb Williams, one of those guys from the college ranks. Well, where does that leave Kyler Murray? Certainly he'll be available. His contract, he's making $46 million a year? That's starting to look like a bargain for a starting quarterback. It would be a young veteran quarterback that presents more in the way of athleticism and overall talent than Dak Prescott brings to the table. Now, I don't know that's going to equate to Dallas being able to do more high-level winning, but my point with Dak is this. If we have to keep asking the question about whether or not he can get the Cowboys to winning a championship, eventually we're going to land on that answer being no. If it doesn't happen in 2023, I don't know that it's ever going to happen for Dak in Dallas.
Amber, here's more ESPN on ESPN Crime. It's about to occur right here in real time. If you don't know whether Kyler Murray will equate to more winning, why the hell are you doing it? Why are you doing it, Chris Canty? I want people who can lead men. Now, look, I've never personally met Kyler Murray, Amber, but I will tell you there's certain people out there in Steve Kimes, who is the general manager from the Arizona Cardinals, that I somewhat trust his opinion on certain things. So to a degree. But after a while, when I hear the same theme over and over and over and over again from people.
There we go.
ESPN Radio on Radio Beef. I am absolutely here for it. Coming up next, we are also here to find out if you're worried that the outside directions will catch up to the Jets. That after Jay has this message from Grainger.
For the ones who get it done, like Ryan Clark and Chris Canty, Grainger offers high-quality supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as access to product specialists who have the knowledge and experience to answer your toughest questions. Plus, their commitment to being your safety partner can help you keep your facility safe and your people safer. So call, click Grainger.com, or just stop on by.
There's a code, there's a way things are done. This past week, it's frustrating and it sucks, but we're all susceptible to it.
The Jets seem to be very concerned about all the things that are said about them and all the things that are being done around them, and none of those things make a damn bit of difference.
I've tried them all. The big ones, the small ones, the ones that promised me the world and didn't deliver. But then I discovered Burlington, and I cannot get enough of it. The low prices, the brand names, the deals.
Wow, this price is amazing. Mom, they have this brand.
Told you so. It's my new favorite store. Mine too. I told you so. You'll love the deals. You'll love Burlington. I told you so.
Hello and welcome to The Smiths Show. At Smiths, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Smiths app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Smiths. Smiths, fresh for everyone.
This Thursday through Saturday only during our 3-day sale, save $10 on a total purchase of $75 or more with your digital coupon. Smiths, fresh for everyone.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Man, this is a nice truck.
Yeah, check this out.
What?
I changed it to remind me of my time at sea.
Weren't you in the Air Force?
Yeah, but I really love the ocean.
You could save and get $200 with Navy Federal Credit Union when you refinance your auto loans from another lender, leaving you with extra to spend on other things. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Credit and collateral subject to approval. Refinance loans must be at least $5,000 to be eligible for the $200. Terms and conditions apply. Learn more at NavyFederal.org.
Is the Peloton bike even worth it? Isn't it just a bike?
Just a bike with low-impact rides for chill people to chill with 5 and 10-minute cooldowns for cool people to be cool with, and scenic rides for vibey people to vibe with. It's just a bike with a 30-day home trial so you can see if you're any one of those people. Try a Peloton Bike or Bike Plus at home for 30 days, and if it's not for you, return it for a full refund. First-time Bike and Bike Plus purchasers only. 1 trial per household. Upfront payment required. Full terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
Back to school savings are red hot this year at Office Depot Office Max. Shop today and save up to 60% on our best-selling school supplies from the brands you know and love, like Crayola, Sharpie, Texas Instruments, 5-Star, and more. Plus, give your schoolwork a professional touch with deals on tech, including amazing savings on HP printers. Shop in-store and at OfficeDepot.com to stock up and save on everything you need to start the new school year strong. Success is in session, and so are the savings at Office Depot Office Max.
At eBay, expert authenticators inspect every detail of select handbags, sneakers.
There's a code, there's a way things are done in that house. You know, this past week, it's frustrating and it sucks, but we're all susceptible to it.
You can tell that it hurt his feelings. I think there was probably a bit of embarrassment there.
The Jets seem to me to be very concerned about all the things that are said about them and all the things that are being done around them, and none of those things make a damn bit of difference. So the reality is the Jets have a tough schedule. They've got 6 tough games at the very beginning, and they need not to get buried.
Lots of beef everywhere. Beef between Chris Canty and Ryan Clark. Beef between Sean Payton, Aaron Rodgers, and Nathaniel Hackett. Apparently that beef, by the way, is what led to the ESPN beef over here. But we've been talking about the beef with Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett, and Aaron Rodgers for days. So, of course, we first got the comments from Sean Payton, hypercritical of Nathaniel Hackett's season there in Denver as head coach. Aaron Rodgers comes out, he defends his guy, keep my coach's name out your mouth, play that. We hadn't actually heard from Nathaniel Hackett yet, okay? Now we finally have. He had a microphone, Jay, in front of his face, so of course he was asked about Sean Payton's comments at his press conference. Here is Nathaniel Hackett reacting to what Payton said last week.
Obviously, last week has been a very unique week, I think, for this organization. And, you know, I've been involved in this business my whole life, 43 years. And as a coach, you know, as a coach's kid, you know, we live in a glass house. We know that. We all live in different rooms. We all got a key for it. And it's one of those things that there's a code, there's a way things are done in that house. And, you know, this past week, it's frustrating and it sucks, but we're all susceptible to it.
I mean, the code's boring. Okay, the code is boring. Break the code. The code is boring. You guys aren't robots. I show a little emotion. And really, Jay, what Sean Payton said, and I get he's breaking this code. He's going against the fraternity, right? This isn't how things are done. But what Sean Payton said was obvious to all of us. Nathaniel Hackett did a terrible job as head coach of the Broncos. It doesn't make him a terrible person. It doesn't make him a terrible father. These things that Aaron Rodgers was coming out and defending. It doesn't make him a bad coordinator, by the way, or a bad coordinator currently with the New York Jets. It just means he was a bad head coach last season with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, Amber, we're on the same page. What I found interesting about this whole thing yesterday is Mike Greenberg, who obviously has Greeny in his show, talked about the noise and how he was somewhat worried about the noise that was coming the Jets' way. Check this out.
If there's one thing that I'm a little concerned about, it's that the Jets seem to me to be very concerned about all the things that are said about them and all the things that are being done around them. And none of those things make a damn bit of difference. So the reality is the Jets have a tough schedule. They've got 6 tough games at the very beginning, and they need not to get buried. That's what they need to worry about. The Jets need to come out of those first 6 games at worst 2-4, and I'm really hoping for 3-3. If they do, then I think they have a chance to really get something done this year. But they could get buried, and they need to spend absolutely no energy worrying about what Sean Payton says or what talk shows say or anybody else.
Oh, my Greeny, I love you, but that's not how sports work, Amber. We spend energy on the petty stuff. That's what drives us. That's what fuels us. I mean, every single day when you're getting hit by other men, or when, I'm rolling an ankle on the basketball court, finding a way to play through. Like, I need to find something to play for that given particular day. Like, that's how it works, right? I need to be driven. So I have no problem with them utilizing this as motivation. And I don't think they're worried about Sean Payton. But I mean, was Aaron Rodgers not supposed to defend his teammate? Like his coach? Like, that's what you will want. If one of your players if one of my players got hit with a random screen on the court, Amber, and it was an illegal screen, right? And that guy intentionally was trying to hurt my teammate, I'm going to step up. I'm going to say something. Like, we might throw hands. Sorry, because my teammate's going to understand before it's all said and done that he's my teammate. He's mine. We're on the same side as we battle on this. That's what Aaron Rodgers did. And by the way, I have no problem with how Nathaniel Hackett handled it, Amber. He was very professional. He let the world know, yeah, I heard it. Like, I expected it. Did it bother me? Sure. But now I'm going to turn my attention to what matters the most, which is my offensive responsibilities and my team. Like, you're going to take inbound when you're a team that is hunted. But it wasn't self-inflicted. As long as things aren't self-inflicted, I'm okay with it, Amber.
The coach speak answer from Nathaniel Hackett would have been, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Nothing to say. I'm the coordinator of the Jets. I'm not worried about what's happening there in Denver, right? And that's what we typically see from these guys. So I guess to Greeny's point, we're not used to Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers also going back a little bit at Sean Payton. But I tend to agree with you with Sean Payton's comments, as strong as they were, and we're not used to seeing that. He already broke that code, so to speak. Then why not Aaron Rodgers do it as well and respond and beef up his guy and instill that confidence in his coordinator? And Nathaniel Hackett, of course, knew he was going to be asked about these comments. He had days to prepare for that. He handled it fine, but I also think it's fair that he gave some semblance of response to a guy who had been hypercritical of him, who he hadn't ever met. I like all of this. I like the transparency of all of this. I like the beef. I like the beef between Chris Canty and Ryan Clark. I want more beef in my life. I like this beef now between the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets because it makes Week 5 so much more interesting of the regular season matchup as it would have been. Here's Nathaniel Hackett again, the Jets OC, on whether he thinks Sean Payton broke the code.
I just think that within this glass house that we all live in, and it's one of those things, it's very expected. I mean, you knew it was going to happen. You knew he was going to handle it that way at some point. It's how it was going all last year. And but hey, now it is what it is, and we move on. I'm very excited about this team. There's been a lot of really good stuff going on here, and I want to be sure we're focusing on that because that's in the past. Learn from your mistakes, move on, all of us.
Hey, real quick, I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead, Pat.
If you live in a glass house and everyone can see everything going on, why can't they comment on it? You're like, oh, I can see he's getting changed. He
just took a cold shower.
He should not wear those SpongeBob boxers so we can all see it.
You're just not supposed to throw rocks at it. And then you're not supposed to throw rocks if you live in the glass house. That's the old saying. Kind of makes sense because if you're at a house and you throw rocks,
Amber, did you see?
Not go well
did you see the sweater that Nathaniel Hackett was wearing during this press interview?
I did. I didn't notice anything. I wasn't really paying attention to it.
Gotham City. It said Gotham City Jets on it. That's all about Batman, baby. It's time to get in the trenches. It's okay. Like, I'm here for it. Like, Batman had all the gadgets. Batman, geez. Not it's talking early. About John Moran. Anyway, all I'm going to say is, what was it, a low blow? Is it too early?
I just got it.
Is it too early? I mean, just when things happen, I don't know. How am I supposed to not talk about it, Amber? But like anybody, if you're living in the dark, or like, isn't this like Bane? Okay, like I'm going to take random shots at people. They're going to take random shots back at me. I'm here for it. I'll see you October 8th. Yeah. I'll see you October 8th. And then when we win, I'll look at you. I'll shake your hand. I'm like, I'm really glad that offense just, looked like it was sputtering out of control. Sorry.
You got the coach speak at the end from Nathaniel Hackett, right? Like he said the thing, like it wasn't anything much that he said, but he said something in response, essentially. We knew this was coming, which I don't know why you knew this was coming from Sean Payton, but okay. And then on the back end of that, you got the coach speak, though. We're focused, though, on here, and we feel great about the direction of this team, and blah, 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 blah. And that's what we always expect. What we don't expect is these guys actually going at each other. And that's what's fun about it, is because we don't necessarily expect it. But in fairness to the Jets, and there is nothing There are a few things in life I hate more than defending the New York Jets, Jay, as a Dolphins fan. In fairness to the Jets, they didn't invite this.
Yes.
They didn't start this,
Thank
all right? And they didn't ask for this. So they have tried to quiet the noise. They didn't even want to do Hard Knocks this season. They have tried to quiet the noise around them. The reality is it ain't happening, Jets. You've got Aaron Rodgers at the helm. You're in the number one market in the world. There is zero chance that noise around you is going to be quiet anytime soon. We're also not going to be quiet here. Amber Wilson, Jay Williams here with you on ESPN Radio. Our two-a-days continues next with the New England Patriots. That after Jay has this word from O'Reilly.
O'Reilly Auto Parts is here to keep your car on the road with the right parts. Advice from the professional parts people and free loaner tool programs. There's no need to purchase a tool if you're only going to use it once. Your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store has more than 80 specialty tools available for use during your next repair. Refundable deposit required. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and ask about their free loaner tool program or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
ESPN Radio's NFL Two-A-Days continue. An in-depth preview of every team in the National Football League.
So badly want to bring Super Bowl here.
NFL Two-A-Days. 2 teams every day. Touchdown, what a start! The Patriots and Buccaneers are today, followed by the Steelers and Packers tomorrow. NFL Two-A-Days continues right here on ESPN Radio.
I need a degree from a university that understands what it's like to juggle school and a busy work schedule. I thought higher education wasn't built for me. Then I discovered WGU. I take courses on my own time, set my own deadlines, test when I'm ready. A respected degree from an accredited university built with working adults in mind? I choose WGU. Learn more at www.wgu.edu/University of U.
Do you love working with kids? Lead structured programs for K-5 students with enthusiasm and foster motivation, innovation, and involvement. Work up to 25 hours per week during a flexible shift in the morning and afternoon. Visit LasVegasNevada.gov/jobs. That's LasVegasNevada.gov/jobs to learn more.
Cool nights start with Ashley this summer. Visit your local Ashley store or Ashley.com to explore our wide selection of mattresses from all the top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic, Purple, and more. Plus, take advantage of low monthly payments with 60-month special financing. Give yourself the restful, rejuvenating sleep you need to be your best self this summer. Only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. No minimum purchase required. Minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery required. See store for details.
Wake up, people. You are optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep. And a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements. Learning how you sleep, so you learn to sleep better. Night after night. Sleep next level. Only from Sleep Number.
And now save up to $500 on the new Sleep Number Smart Bed. Plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axis...
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getearly to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
130 million households will need to pay a new can tax so Cleveland Cliffs can line their pockets. Cleveland Cliffs is demanding tariffs on tin plate steel, which is used for canned goods. How much? Up to a 300% increase that makes everyday essentials more expensive, hitting you and the most vulnerable hardest at a time when consumers can least afford it. Tell Congress, protect consumers from even higher grocery prices. Say no to the Cleveland Cliffs can tax.
A strong work ethic takes pride in a job well done. This is you. But to get an honest day's work, you need a callback. You need a job. Express Employment Professionals can help. We'll connect you to the right company. We're committed to your success and never charge a fee to find you a job. Express knows jobs. Get to know Express. Find your location at expresspros.com or on the Express Jobs app.
Do you love working with kids? Lead structured programs for K-5 students with enthusiasm and foster motivation, innovation, and involvement. Work up to 25 hours per week during a flexible shift in the morning and afternoon. Visit lasvegasnevada.gov/jobs. That's lasvegasnevada.gov/jobs to learn more.
By J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, any member FDIC.
Here's the 0-2 to Gallagher. Broken bat, soft liner. Pena catches it, and a no-hitter. Robert Valdez. First one to greet him is Maldonado, and the rest of his teammates pile on. Robert Valdez throws the 16th no-hitter in Houston Astros history.
Framber Valdez threw the 16th no-hitter. You just heard it there in Houston Astros history with a 2-0 victory over the Cleveland Guardians, hours after the Astros reacquired ace Justin Verlander from the New York Mets. Valdez allowed just one base runner on a walk in the fifth, but still faced the minimum thanks to a double play in the inning. Jackie Young scored 24 points. Asia Wilson had 20 and 11 boards, and the Las Vegas Aces clinched a WNBA playoff spot with a 93-72 victory over the Atlanta Dream. Las Vegas has won 8 straight games to become the second team in WNBA history to start a season 24-2. SportsCenter is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com.
Hey, let's go do our job, man.
NFL Nation Two-A-Days on ESPN Radio. The New England Patriots.
158!
I'm Mike Reese with the Patriots. Top storyline, simple. Mac Jones and the offense. How much does the addition of new offensive coordinator Bill O'Brien make a difference? Will we see the Mac Jones from his rookie year of 2021, or will it be a continuation of last year when Mac slipped in his second year in the NFL? Patriots feel like they have the support around Mac to try to get him back to what he was like as a rookie.
Countdown to kickoff with NFL Nation Two-A-Days on ESPN Radio.
The notorious just please us with the lyrical thesis.
So the story of the New England Patriots, I think, is twofold this season. One comes before the other. It's Mac Jones, which you just heard there from our NFL Nations reporter who covers, of course, the New England Patriots, and also Bill Belichick, Jay. And how Mac Jones does might determine how long Bill Belichick stays with the New England Patriots in his 70s. But let's start with Mac Jones, because we are talking about a player who had a good rookie season, right? Makes a Pro Bowl as an alternate. Last year, it looked entirely differently. Bailey Zappi at points in that offense looked better than Mac Jones did. Now, though, enter Bill O'Brien, and he brings all of that we saw from him at Alabama. Is he going to be able to get the most out of Mac Jones? Are you a Mac Jones believer, Jay Williams?
I'm a believer that if there's anybody that can bring the best out of Mac Jones, it is Bill O'Brien, somebody that where there's continuity and there's familiarity. Like, I think that ultimately breeds success. Now, whether it can breed success at a level of football within a division that is maybe the toughest in football, I'm not sure it can get them over that hump. And I don't think time is a friend to Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones. The interesting thing about this relationship, as I heard Mac Jones talk about his relationship with Bill Belichick the other day, Amber, as a result of it being a fresh start, is the way he put it, is there's a lot for these two to get over. Obviously, his rookie year, and then obviously what happened last year between Matt Patricia and then also Joe Judge, who still remains on the team as special teams coordinator. But what I have noticed is that Mac Jones and his family seem to be pretty close with the upper brass, with the Kraft family. And that relationship, I'm just wondering, I'm not saying it's enough to supersede a guy like, Bill Belichick, who is the greatest coach of all time. But as we watch this team, and if they don't make the playoffs, I really do start to believe that we could be talking about Bill Belichick in some kind of consultation role with the organization moving forward, because it lends to the question of, look, if you're drafting personnel and that personnel is no longer at the upper echelon of this division and of this conference, and we're watching teams like Buffalo with the star quarterback continue to move forward, playing more of a spaced out area of football, right? And if we're not playing that way, if we're watching Tua with your Miami Dolphins continuing to build, if we're watching the Jets with Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and the way they're going to air it out with Nathaniel Hackett, is our style of play not up to date with where the league is going? And that's a real legit question. We've heard Robert Kraft talk about this multiple times. And if you're Mac Jones, if you have that relationship and you're saying, if you're not allowing me to play that way where the rest of the league is moving in that direction, what time is it going to be for Bill Belichick, Amber? You tell me what you think about that.
I mean, this New England Patriots team benefited off of an incredibly weak division for 20 years. Also benefited, of course, from having the greatest quarterback of all time as their quarterback. So both of those factors now non-existent. They're in a stacked division, and Tom Brady's no longer at the helm. I think, though, if Mac Jones can at least elevate a little bit back to the guy that we saw his rookie season, then maybe he has some sort of future here in New England. And it seems reasonable to believe that when he actually has an offensive coordinator, maybe you'll be able to get more out of Mac Jones. I'm not one who's a big believer in Mac Jones in terms of him ever looking anywhere near, a Tom Brady or anywhere near a top tier quarterback in the league. But can Mac Jones be decent? Probably. Is decent going to be good enough for this fan base and for this ownership that has been so spoiled by excellence for so long? I'm not so sure about that one. Now, I don't believe that Robert Kraft would ever get rid of Bill Belichick. Could I believe that maybe he gets relieved of his duties as general manager before he does as coach? That seems more plausible to me. We're talking about a coach who's chasing Don Shula's record to be all-time winningest coach in the NFL. He still seems years removed from that, particularly now with how the Patriots have been playing. Robert Kraft made it very clear that he doesn't care about those personal records. That was definitely a shot at Bill Belichick going after Don Shula's record. But the reality is you're talking about a coach who hasn't just won one Super Bowl, or Jay, or 2 Super Bowls, or 3 Super Bowls. I mean, we're talking about Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl. We're talking about 2 decades of absolute dominance in the NFL. And so I don't think that Bill gets pushed out as a coach in any scenario. Could he get kind of gently encouraged to retire one day?
Yes.
I mean, the man's in his 70s. I could see that conversation at some point. I don't see it happening this season, though.
So, but I used to be on the train with you about, do you remove his GM hat and allow him to be a coach? And the more I found myself contemplating that, the more it led me to, well, if you're drafting your personnel for style of play that is conducive to how you coach, isn't it all the same? Like, how can you compartmentalize that?
Well, I mean,
so now I'm going to say I'm going to draft different personnel.
Right.
Like, does that really fit your style of play?
Well, he hasn't been doing a very good job of drafting the person. And I'm not very impressed by the offseason moves here from the New England Patriots. I mean, you're talking about a team, they bring in Mike Gesicki. I mean, all right, as a Dolphins fan, like, okay. Juju Smith-Schuster, but you're talking about swapping Myers for Smith-Schuster. And that doesn't do much for me. I mean, Juju's certainly the bigger name, but he didn't look at his peak by any means in KC last year. you have problems there with Smith-Schuster, Devontae Parker. I mean, again, as a Dolphins fan, like that wide receiver core doesn't do anything for me. And yet we're talking about a quarterback who needs to develop and needs to prove himself here to you in his third season. And I don't know how we had this conversation for years with Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady seemed frustrated at the end of his tenure there in New England because they just Bill refused to put the real weapons around him, the real dynamic weapons. And he thought, man, if I'm going to age gracefully, it'll be a heck of a lot easier to do that with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans down in Tampa. And obviously you saw how that worked out immediately in a Super Bowl. Bill's never really been known for putting the real weapons around Brady. He just had the quarterback before that was able to elevate the, okay, receivers that were around him. He doesn't have that anymore. And so from a personnel perspective, I do feel like that's the starter point of the problem. I just don't know if Bill would ever relinquish that power. Like if you go to Bill and you're like, hey, we want to keep you on, but we don't want you drafting anymore or making the offseason moves anymore and bringing in the free agents. I don't know if Bill's on board with that, to your point.
Well, I never thought I would say this. And I would follow my old colleague in saying, but the first 4 games of the season, I mean, pretty much I think Bill Belichick's going to fall off a cliff. Like I do. I mean, listen, Amber, Eagles at home, Dolphins at home, at Jets, at Cowboys. They're going to find themselves 0-4. I believe it. Possible. Yeah, I believe it.
I mean, when you have to play the Bills multiple times and the Dolphins multiple times and the Jets multiple times because of the division you're in, it could be very tough sledding here for this New England Patriots team. I have very mediocre expectations, and mediocre ain't going to get it done in that division.
Not playoffs. So for me, that's what mediocre means.
That's what mediocre means, particularly when you're talking about the AFC and particularly that AFC East. Coming up next year, nothing mediocre about us. Amber Wilson and Jay Williams hanging out with you here on ESPN Radio presented to you by Progressive Insurance. Are we putting unfair pressure on Justin Fields? You can also listen to us on the ESPN app.
Camp to camp, every rep, team to team.
It's on this field where fortunes are made or lost.
Continuing coverage. The countdown to kickoff rolls on. 36 days until the NFL season begins.
Yeah, I like football season, all the things that go with it.
The NFL lives here. ESPN Radio.
So, you've got an idea for a business. The store of your dreams. There's just one thing to figure out. Everything. That's why Shopify's all-in-one commerce platform makes it easy to sell online, in person, and everywhere else. Sell on social media, source products with an app to get that first sale feeling. It's the only solution that gives you everything you need to sell everywhere you want. So when you're ready to bring your idea to life, power it up with Shopify.
Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer 23.
Ready to explore Europe the striped way? Then fly with Condor Airlines. With nonstop flights to Frankfurt, Germany, there are great connection options to several cities. Whether it's the romantic streets of Paris or the stunning beaches of Barcelona, Condor will start your vacation by offering comfortable and spacious cabins. Fly the striped way. Visit condor.com today.
Welcome to Ashley. What are you shopping for?
New mattress.
Excellent. Right this way. So here we've got the all-new Tempur-Pedic Breeze collection, the ultimate solution for hot sleepers. The advanced cooling technology keeps you cool all night, paired with the comfort you'd expect from Tempur-Pedic, so you can sleep deep and wake up refreshed.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Thanks for your help.
Don't sweat it.
Cooler, better sleep starts at Ashley. Stop by an Ashley store to talk with one of our sleep experts today.
Wake up, people. You're optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep. And a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements. Learning how you sleep, so you learn to sleep better. Night after night. Sleep next level. Only from Sleep Number.
And now save up to $500 on the new Sleep Number Smart Bed. Plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
At Wells Fargo, if you accidentally overdraw your account, we give you an extra day grace period to avoid the overdraft fee. What if everything came with an extra day?
Sunday night and I have the Sunday scaries.
Honey, don't be scared. Every weekend comes with an extra day now.
All right. TGI Sunday.
It helps to have an extra day. When it comes to overdrafts, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getextra to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to timing requirements and the bank's funds availability policy. Wells Fargo Bank N.A. member FDIC.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease.
If you had to rank your top 5 quarterbacks in regards to running, and you can throw yourself in the list too.
Oh, I am, because I definitely think I am.
Everybody's buying in, even more than last year for me. I've definitely grown as a leader.
Justin looks good, though. He's going through the progressions. He's looking very smooth, making good decisions out there, looking like best quarterback in the NFL.
I think I'm still in wait-and-see mode with Justin Fields. Generally speaking, I'm still in show me, don't tell me mode.
He's out here signing babies, quite literally, at training camp. Justin Fields having himself a moment there in Chicago. Is he going to have a moment, though, Jay, for this season? Because he certainly has a heck of a lot of pressure on him, right? We are talking about a quarterback that is going to be very closely evaluated all season long on a Chicago Bears team that still ain't going to be very good around him.
I think Justin Fields is going to be a superstar, man. I've been saying this for a while now, Amber, watching him at Ohio State. Obviously, the running quarterback conversation, he's going to be in that category, one of the best to ever do it. And I'm not saying his game is similar, but it's a stockier version of Lamar Jackson, right? Like with his ability to get out of the pocket, to create those yards with his feet. Is it unfair expectations for him? Sure. It's Chicago, right? As somebody that got drafted there, internally, there are always going to be unrealistic expectations for a guy that, you know, it has a chance to be a superstar when this town, this city has yearned for a superstar quarterback for the longest time. Now, realistically, they won 3 damn games last year. If you're asking them and Ryan Poles, my boy, to win the NFC North, like that is unrealistic. To win 7-8 games, okay. Like, and I still think that that's going to be a lot. It's going to take a superior year from him. Now you want to see about his accuracy, throwing the ball, obviously getting DJ Moore, I think gives him a target along with Darnell Mooney. I think there is slightly better talent. Is the talent overwhelming? No, but a guy like Justin Fields, similar to how we had our QB tiers yesterday, one of the measures of tier 1 is, can a quarterback carry the load for their team? Can they make the impossible possible? And I am a believer that Justin Fields is one of those rare type of talents within the NFL that can make the impossible possible. It will lead to them winning their division? No. Will it lead them to winning the Super Bowl? No. Him winning MVP? I'm not going to go that far. Because for me, it really feels like this is truly year 2 for him, Amber. Like, year 1 was him, with a new OC, a new head coach, a different OC, a different head coach. He was splitting reps with Andy Dalton. Last year, I felt like it was finally his team. So this is finally year 2 for me and how I truly look at it.
Well, in the trajectory of this team, how Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus are building this thing, this is the most fair shot that he will have had, right? Because they ripped it all the way down to the studs and they're building this thing. And it's still going to be a bad team. I think 7-8 wins is a lofty expectation when you mention 7-8 wins. Doubling their wins, I think, would be a huge win for the Chicago Bears, right? Which would make it a 6-win type of season. Courtney Cronin, who covers the Chicago Bears for us here at NFL Nation, still has them finishing last in the division. But she said it doesn't matter. What matters here is building towards something, right? They're not worried about winning this division and making a postseason right now. They're worried about implementing their plan. And that plan involves Justin Fields. And that plan involves building and continuing to build around Justin Fields. But he's not Ryan Poles' guy, right? He's not Matt Eberflus' guy. He has to prove himself himself to some extent that he is in fact the guy moving forward, or you would assume that they will be moving on from him. Now, I'm with you. I think he has wild talent. I find him incredibly exciting to watch. I thought he came out of the gate hot last year. I'm surprised to hear you say that you think he's already one of the greatest to do it as a dual threat quarterback.
I didn't say already.
Really,
No. I said he will be when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Just for clarification purposes, Amber.
I'm surprised, and that's fair. That was a good clarification.
Yes.
I'm surprised, though, that you're already sold on that. I mean, I'm not sold on that with Justin Fields. I think the talent is there, but obviously we have to see a little bit more of how that talent is utilized. Now, I think he's going to have a pretty good season, and if he has a pretty good season, that's all he needs to do.
What more would you like to see from him, Amber?
Well, first of all, obviously, the more winning. But second of all, yeah, I mean, you have to cut down on some of the mistakes. We are talking about a quarterback with double-digit interceptions, both seasons that he's been in the league. So you have to cut down on some of the mistakes. I don't want to have the conversation with like the arm and the accuracy and like that portion of it with a dual threat quarterback. Obviously, what he does with his legs is pretty remarkable, but you have to make it all work and it all has to come together. And then it has to result in the win-loss column. I think really Justin Fields just has to clean it up a little bit. It's not going to be easy. We're not talking about a good Chicago Bears team. I mean, he's got a lot of expectation. He's got a lot of pressure. And he's got a tall task ahead of him. That's the reality. But also when you're starting quarterback in the NFL, that's how it goes. Mike Greenberg, co-host of Get Up and of Greeny, was on Get Up yesterday. And he agrees with Jay that Justin Fields is going to be a superstar.
Now he is set to follow Hurts and Allen again. Those two are the modern template for quarterback development. They're talented, in need of patience and coaching, and now look at them. Fields is exactly the same. Frankly, he was a better prospect than either of those guys were. The final piece of the puzzle came this offseason with the Bears' acquisition of DJ Moore. They are hoping he can be to Fields what Stephon Diggs and A.J. Brown were to his predecessors. And I'm here to tell you, they got that absolutely right, all of it. The people of Chicago have been waiting all of their lives, like a century plus, for what they are finally about to have. Write it down. Justin Fields is going to be the next superstar quarterback in the NFL.
I don't hate the take. I don't know why you and Greeny feel so confident about the take, but I don't hate the take. I think that the skill set is there. But Kyler Murray has a skill set, right? And some wild, raw talent. Like we can name.
So different, Amber.
Well, tell me why. Because we can name quarterbacks around the league that we've seen the raw talent, we've seen the exciting moments, and we're not necessarily sold on how it's going to pan out for the team.
So I'll preface my opinion by telling you first and foremost, I am biased because I've known Justin Fields. And when you know somebody and you spend time talking to them here and there, you start paying attention. To me personally, I look for characteristic traits of people who are incredibly competitive. And do you have the drive? But not only do you have the drive, do you have the quality habits that can lead you to ultimately being successful? And one of those habit traits I look for, Amber, is, really being obsessed. Justin Fields is obsessed with the game of football. He's obsessed with being a quarterback and studying the playbook and building relationships with teammates and learning better ways to lead and learning better ways to communicate. And I think when you see somebody with that foundation, granted, a lot of other things need to be built correctly. But I really think you just said it earlier when you said, hey, you tear it down to the studs. That is truly what needed to be that's what needed to occur in order for Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles to build the right foundation. From somebody who came into a situation, like I had a good general manager, but we didn't have a quality coach in my first year with the Bulls, you recognize how important it is not only to have the talent, but to have the right pieces around the talent, coach-wise and GM-wise, to foster the right culture for a player to grow. And I think what we're seeing from Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus is the right culture for a guy like Justin Fields, who has all the quality traits and habits to be a superstar, for it to be grown properly from the floor up. That's what I see.
I do think the talent certainly is there. I think the traits are certainly there, like you said. And I will take your word for the work ethic, since you know Justin Fields personally. So the tools are all there in the toolbox. Now it's a matter of refining those tools, making those tools actually work for you, and using those tools to prove to Eberflus and polls that you are, in fact, that guy moving forward. Coming up next, why don't we talk about the Baltimore Ravens more this season? Lamar got paid.
When picking a commerce platform, you have two choices.
Oh, you piece of...
Or...
Yeah!
That's the sound of selling on Shopify, the commerce platform that supercharges your selling online and in person. Why battle inferior platforms' weak tools? And limited integrations.
Would have helped to know this.
Join the millions of businesses growing on Shopify and ignite your selling.
Less, more.
Start your free trial today at shopify.com/special offer 23. Shopify.com/special offer 23.
Why wait until November when Black Friday deals are going on now at Ashley? Because it's never too early to shop incredible deals for every room of your home. Shop doorbusters starting at just $2.99 and take advantage of low monthly payments with 60-month special financing. Visit your local Ashley store and experience Black Friday in July, only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval, no minimum purchase required, minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery required. See store for details.
Hello and welcome to The Smiths Show. At Smiths, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Smiths app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store, with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Smiths. Smiths, fresh for everyone.
This Thursday through Saturday only during our 3-day sale, save $10 on a total purchase of $75 or more with your digital coupon. Smiths, fresh for everyone.
Kelley Blue Book is the one-stop shop for pricing, fixing, selling, and instant cash offering. Instant cash offer is exactly what it sounds like. An official offer to buy or trade your car. Just enter your VIN or license plate, answer a few questions about your car's history, and what kind of condition it's in. In minutes, you'll receive an offer to sell or trade your car that you can be sure is fair. Then choose a dealer to purchase your car and schedule a time to meet. For all of the its, KBB.com.
At Rocket, we know buying a home is exciting and a bit overwhelming. Ready to buy a home but stressed about writing those big checks? Rocket can help you save. When you buy with Rocket Homes and finance with Rocket Mortgage, you can get up to $10,000 cash toward closing from Rocket Mortgage. It's a pretty big deal, and one you can get only with Rocket. Visit onlywithrocket.com to get started today.
For purchase transactions only, must log rate between 331 and 831. Call 8337-ROCKET for conditions and restrictions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 3030.
Why wait until November when Black Friday deals are going on now at Ashley? Because it's never too early to shop incredible deals for every room of your home. Shop doorbusters starting at just $2.99 and take advantage of low monthly payments with 60-month special financing. Visit your local Ashley store and experience Black Friday in July, only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval, no minimum purchase required, minimum monthly payment, down payment, tax, and delivery required. See store for details.
Wake up, people. You are optimizing every waking hour of your life. From carpooling kids, to work, to friends, and everything in between. You have to get sleep. And a bed that can perform as well as you do. Meet the next generation Sleep Number Smart Bed. It effortlessly adjusts to your shape, position, and movements. Learning how you sleep, so you learn to sleep better. Night after night. Sleep next level. Only from Sleep Number.
And now save up to $500 on the new Sleep Number Smart Bed. Plus free home delivery when you add an adjustable base. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, whenever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members only pay a $25 copay or less. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off of your first month when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Talkspace.com.
130 million households will need to pay a new can tax so Cleveland Cliffs can line their pockets. Cleveland Cliffs is demanding tariffs on
Jackson sets in the pistol.
You really just gotta keep playing your game.
Jackson will keep it on the read option.
I just try to play like myself.
Spins at the 30.
I just want to get to the promised land.
Jackson 10, 5, touchdown, Ravens. To the right, and it is gone.
What quarterback is poised to take a massive leap, and why aren't we talking more about the Baltimore Ravens? Amber Wilson, Jay Williams hanging out with you here on ESPN Radio. You can also watch us on ESPNU. You find him on social. Do it right now at Jay Williams or at Real Jay Williams. I know, at Real.
You said at the Real Jay Williams yesterday, and now you got me with at Jay Williams today. Okay. Nobody's going to know my handle now because of you, Amber.
Okay, let me try this again.
It's unbelievable.
Although those dudes got a heck of followers.
Yeah, they did.
At Real J Williams.
What?
Yeah, on X.
Did you just say hecka followers?
Yeah, I try to clean it up around here. It's funny because I censor the heck out of myself on air, even though there are words that we're allowed to say. But like when I was growing up, HE double hockey sticks was a bad word in my household. What's funny about this is I curse like a sailor off air. Like
it's really
sailor.
hard for me. Amber, I can't. It's hard for me to go back and forth. Sometimes things just naturally come out with my Jersey potty mouth. It's who I am.
I've tried to clean up my language over the years, especially when I got into sports radio years ago, because I'm always afraid that I am going to slip. So I do find myself in actual conversations with people, Jay, in real life, bleeping myself. Like I'll be like, oh, that bleeping bleep, you know, like saying the word bleep. And they're like, what are you doing?
You're better than me. My daughter's like, Dad, what is this word? Me, I'm like, let's never say that word out loud again, honey. Daddy was on a conference call and got a little bit angry. So just let that one pass.
A real reflection of yourself when you're a parent. You learn real quick. So at Real J Williams, at Amber W Sports. That is my handle. That's where you find me. So we haven't been talking a ton about the Baltimore Ravens. Now, obviously a stacked conference, Jay, but we're talking about a quarterback that got paid, but most importantly, appears like he's going to enter the season healthy. And oh, by the way, used to be an MVP in the league, and no one thinks Lamar Jackson has fallen off at all at this point. So why aren't we talking more about how good the Ravens could be this season? Damian Woody, ESPN's NFL analyst, thinks Lamar is actually going to take a huge step forward.
It's hard to top a unanimous MVP season, but I think it's going to look different. And I think he's going to have a hell of a year because I think that the maturation of the passing game in Baltimore is going to take Lamar Jackson's game to that next level, the evolution of him as a quarterback. When you have guys on the outside that can threaten every blade of grass. Remember this Baltimore passing game, it was really about, Mark Andrews, the tight end in the middle of the field. Now you got OBJ, Zay Flowers on the outside. That opens up a totally different dimension for Lamar Jackson. I think now all the questions that some people had about Lamar Jackson, can he be, one of these other quarterbacks like a Joe Burrow or, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert type of quarterback? Well, guess what? When you add elite weapons on the outside, it gives you an opportunity to showcase what you can do at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Also, Amber, I think just to add to what D Wood just said there, because I'm in agreement with him. When you have a top 7 offensive coordinator in Todd Monken, and yeah, I just put a top 7 on his name. You can mark that one down. Especially if you go back to what he did in his last stint as an OC in 2019 with the Cleveland Browns. Just look at that offense and how he was able to ramp them up. I think he allows them to open up the field a lot more with the new personnel. And I think, look, there's a lot to prove here,